Good evening. Welcome to Love Talk. I'm Gregory Morgan. What I want to address here in this show today is that love is an exercise. Honor is an exercise. Integrity is an exercise. It's something that you exercise. And just like everything else, they say if you don't use it, you lose it. It's a talent you have. It's an ability that you have, that we have as human beings, to practice being honorable, to practice having integrity, to practice loving and cherishing, even in spite of any circumstances. Now, we have that ability, and just like when you go to the gym, exercising isn't necessarily pleasant. It's sometimes hard. You work hard, you get sore muscles, you get out of breath, you sweat, you feel bad, and then at the end, you feel good, right? You feel more empowered, you feel stronger, you feel the endorphins, the actual endorphins that come about as a result of exercising. So there is a reward that's worth feeling bad about or working through, even in going to the gym. And same if you study something, if you want to have a career as any kind of professional, then you're going to have to spend several months or years, concentrating and working and foregoing some of the more pleasurable things in life to focus on something that you really want, so that the more you focus on it, the more it becomes a reality. So if you wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer or a dancer or a musician or anything like that, you would need to focus on that even when you didn't feel like it. So I'm proposing to you today, and I'll be talking about this, and I'll open the phone lines and take your calls, and I want to discuss with you, not just lecture you. I'd like to have a conversation with you regarding the word cherishing, because I believe after talking to several men in my life, that for the most part, men don't understand this word. And I don't really believe that women do, although I think they have maybe a better sense of what the word means. I think they have a better sense, and I think that they are a little more capable of it because of their natural instincts of motherhood. So I want to talk about the word cherishing, or to cherish something, and I want to talk about the word honor, because I think that through the ages, the meaning of that word has changed over and over and over again, and there is also not only a historical shift in what the word honor means, but there is a cultural shift even in the present moment, or any present moment, whether it's past, present, or future. There is a very broad interpretation of what it is to be honorable and what honor means. And there's a lot of negative things and harmful things that are done in the name of honor. So it's a word that's been widely misused and abused. And so I want to talk about that. And then lastly, I want to point to something that most people think they understand and don't, and that is integrity. People have all sorts of interpretations of what integrity is, and we tend to think, well, that's a good thing, or it's a bad thing if you don't have it. And while that may be true, it is also just superficially true that integrity would be a good thing. The thing about integrity is that everything works when you have integrity. If you can bring integrity to just about any situation, at any time, in any circumstance, if you can bring integrity, if you can be listening for and be and more importantly, be the source of causing integrity at any moment in time, at any moment, any circumstance, at all circumstances, at all times, rain or shine, good or bad, happy or sad, in sickness or in health, if you can bring the distinction of integrity, you can bring workability to any situation. Situations have breakdowns when integrity is out. When integrity is missing, relationships break down, conversations break down, businesses break down, families break down, finances break down, countries break down, religions break down, social structures break down when integrity is not in the picture. So I'm going to say that out of all of the distinctions that I would love to talk with you about today, honor, cherishing, and integrity, I would say that integrity is what makes all of those things work. You could cherish all you want, but if you don't have integrity, it's not going to work anyhow. Your relationships, you could cherish your wife, you could cherish your children, but if you go out of integrity, if you start cheating on your family, cheating on your own life, cheating on your diet, cheating on your finances, sooner or later there will be a breakdown in the things that you cherish the most. The things that are most important to you will begin to break down, and you will find yourself spending all of your energy, time, money, and emotional and psychological energy attempting to repair or hold together or put back together something that will naturally fall apart if it has no integrity in it. I think it'd be best if we took a brief break, and then after the break, I'm going to address the distinctions: cherishing, honor, and integrity. So we're going to take a brief break. I'll be back in just a few minutes. I'm Gregory Morgan, and you're watching Love Talk. Welcome back to Love Talk. I'm Gregory Morgan, and if you're joining the show for the very first time, or you just joined in and you missed the first part of the show, what we're talking about today is 3 distinctions that are absolutely essential, not only in your relationships, but in your businesses, but particularly in your life, in your relationship with yourself, okay? And those words are, we're going to be talking about cherishing, because I believe that after speaking with a lot of men lately, I've come to understand that most of them do not know what this word means. And so that makes sense. It took me, 40 years to get it. And so I want to begin to distinguish the distinction between the word cherishing and loving, because there is a distinction, even though they are bound together. And the word honor and the word integrity. So I want to bring some clarity to those distinctions, because if you look in your own mind and you look in your own life, you look in your own heart, your relationships, your businesses, and you begin to look for where is cherishing present, where is honor present, where is integrity present, and where is it missing, it might not be exactly clear to you. So when I bring clarity to these distinctions, it is so that you could bring some clarity to your own life and live a much more powerful life, a much more abundant life, a much more fulfilling life, and a life, more importantly, as far as I'm concerned, that makes a difference and leaves a legacy of love and honor in your community, in your family, and in the lives of the people whom you touch, that you may never actually meet yourself, that you leave a legacy of honor for those future generations. Your life will touch thousands of people, and those people will in turn touch thousands of people and thousands of people. We are part of a network of humanity, and we have the ability to position ourselves, to distinguish ourselves, to define ourselves in terms of something that actually makes a difference, that actually changes the network, not only of the future, but of the past. Yes, you can change the past by changing your interpretation, your perspective, your vision, your experience of the past. I will give you an example of my own life, okay? For 40 years, I told the story of how my father was an angry man, or a violent man, or a man that used to hit me and belittle me or scare me. And I told this story, I don't know how many times, okay? I told this story to whoever would listen. And it was my interpretation that, he was a bad man, and that he did bad things to me. And it hit me one day, over a period of several days, as I began to work on myself as a man, and during that period, I had begun to mature myself as a man, and I began to enter into the age that my own father was when he was my father and I was his kid. And I began to remember things that I'd said to my father and things that I'd done that and I thought, if I had a kid like that, I don't know if he would be safe. around me. I was very rebellious, very mouthy. I had a big mouth, and I was very hard-headed, and I did whatever I wanted, and I was very difficult to discipline. So that's a little bit about my past. That's all I'm going to tell you about that. Only I told you that much so that you could begin to understand the story that I'm saying about changing the past. Once I began to see that, it opened the door for me to have a new perspective on that my father was doing the best he could with what he had. My father was raised by a father who beat him to try to discipline him and make him a better person. So he thought that was the way to do it with me as well. And so he did what he did because his father did what he did. And my father was suffering throughout his lifetime, struggling against, we could call them demons, struggling against his own anger, his own rage, his own frustration, his own sense of helplessness. And it occurred to me that my father was somebody I truly admired, somebody who I thought did a great job, somebody that in spite of what a bad kid that I could be, he did the best that he could. And I began to develop almost instantly a deep respect and honoring of my father. And I had an experience of wanting to go back to him, although he's passed away many, many years, but I did go back to him in my thoughts and in my vision. And I thanked him for raising me and making me into a good man and teaching me honorable ways to live, and for restraining himself the many times that I'm sure he did when he must have been very, very angry at me, and for teaching me to be a better man. And from that time forth, I have a deep respect and honoring for my father, and that whole story about having been abused during my childhood and beaten and all that kind of stuff has just disappeared. I can't even tell that story anymore. It's disgusting to me. It's such a lie. So when I say you can change the past, when you begin to see what's happening in your life in terms of what I'm going to be speaking about today, you'll begin to see that you can take back your power in areas where you've lost your power, in areas where you've experienced a loss of affinity or affection, a loss of your sense of identity, perhaps experienced a loss of your ability to make things happen or your will to want to make your life better. You maybe have become resigned about whether or not your life would ever make a difference for the world. And I want to tell you that with cherishing, which is a specific form of love, honoring yourself and others and life itself, and bringing integrity to every situation under all circumstances at all time, no matter what. Just keep bringing integrity because that's what works. Then you will begin to take back your power, this loss of power that you may have experienced in your life. And I've never met somebody who hasn't experienced a loss of power, or many of them throughout their lifetime. You begin to take back your power, and with that power comes ability, and therefore responsibility. And so when you begin to take back your power and be responsible for it, and bring honor and integrity and cherishing to the table, to the relationship, to life, then you begin to make a difference, not only for future generations in your present world and for future generations, but you also begin to change the way you have seen your past up until now. And when that happens, when that forgiveness happens, when you discover that there was never anything to forgive in the first place. I don't need to forgive my father, but I already have. He doesn't need my forgiveness. I need my forgiveness. I need my forgiveness. I went to my father in a vision, and I asked him to forgive me for all those times that I lied about what a bad man he was, and that I told people about how he hurt me or beat me and abused me and stuff like that. That was all a lie. That was me being victim. It was not me being responsible for my life. And yeah, was I young? Was I a 10, 11, 12-year-old? Yeah. But I can be responsible for that. I knew the difference between right and wrong at that age. I'd been taught the difference between right and wrong by who? My father. And my mother, of course. And so I knew the difference between right and wrong, and so his sense of honor, his sense of integrity was thwarted, it made him angry that I wouldn't do what I knew was right. His sense of honor was offended. And so I knew all those things. So you can change not only your present, you can change the future for yourself and others, and you can change your interpretation of the past, therefore changing your past. And when that happens, you will have experienced a transformation into a whole nother realm or world of possibilities for your life. What was not possible before, it wasn't even remotely possible, becomes accessible, becomes envisionable, becomes within reach. What was not possible before now becomes possible. And so you will become an entirely new human being, a different type of human being. And for the most part, not just different from how you used to be, but different, distinct from most of the people that you will ever meet walking this planet. You know, the Taoists have a distinction, I've forgotten the Chinese word, but it means a real human, the real human being. And there was a distinction. They had a word for that type of person. And another, we might say in our language, a fully self-realized human being, a human being who had realized themselves or fulfilled their potentials, or who was in the process of fulfilling their potentials. So a self-realized human being, they called it a real person, a real human. And I said, you should travel 1,000 miles if you hear of a real human, to see and be in the presence of a real human, because they are rare. You will find that there are fewer and fewer real humans in our generation. And so my purpose in life, and the purpose in life of Embrace Growth and of my wife, Dr. Azita Sayan, is to get people back to their reality. It's not that there aren't real humans in life. It's just that there are real humans who have forgotten who they are. They've forgotten what they are, and they've believed something. They've fallen into an illusion of something that is just simply not true about who they've been in the past and what's possible for them in the future. So our entire work at Embrace Growth is to have people meet those challenges as a real human being, as somebody who actually is responding, meaning they are responsible human beings who are self-authorizing, meaning they have the authority to respond responsibly, and they don't need to ask anybody for that authority. They give themselves that authority, and they responsibly deal with their lives in a way that makes a difference, that brings honor, that brings integrity, that brings loving and cherishing to the situation in any circumstance at all times. So if that's something that interests you, then that's what I want to be talking about on this show today. And we've got a couple of callers that are coming in, so I'm going to go ahead and take the first call. Hello, this is Gregory, and you're live on the line. How can I help you?
I have a question for you. When you say that we can change the past,
yes.
How do we get over the mistakes we made?
Well, that's good. That's an excellent question. I'm sure about 1,000 people have that question. It's not about getting over anything. Although getting over sounds good, it's not so much that I'm about getting over. When you say the word getting over your mistakes, what I hear is that you want to rise above them. So you want to rise above them so that the mistakes, instead of being big and looming in your future and in your face, seem small and insignificant down below. That's what I hear when I hear the word to get over something. That choice of words indicates an inner reality, okay? Our inner reality actually helps us choose the words that come out of our mouth, and the inner reality that you're speaking of is the one in which you rise above a future or past situation. So in the hypnotherapy sessions that I do something called timeline therapy, in which, and we can do a little light version of that even here as we're speaking with each other. If I say the stream of time, if I say those words, stream of time, and you allow yourself to just imagine the stream of time, Every person listening to my voice will see a different stream of time. For some of you, it'll be flowing from behind you and out towards the future. From some of you, it'll be flowing from left to right or from right to left. For some of you, you'll be standing outside the stream of time and it'll be flowing in one of those directions. It may be from below you to above you, but whatever your stream of time looks like, the first thing that you saw when I said stream of time, that's the right one. So don't try to change it. And so for some of you, it'll be flowing right through your body. You'll be in the stream of time. And for some of you, you'll be sort of separated and seeing the stream of time apart from yourself. So as I say the stream of time, I would like for you to imagine rising high above the stream of time and looking down upon it. And you'll notice that you could see far back into the present and way out into the future, just looking at whatever you just imagined is the stream of time. Timeline therapy is extremely fun and very, very powerful, okay? And because you can see the stream of time and it's an inner reality, then you could, if I said, now go back along the stream of time, just go ahead and float back to the time in the past that you made a mistake, that one, the one that you're thinking of, and now just hover above that mistake and look down upon it. And just remember who was there, what was said, what kind of clothes you had on, what room or place you were in, the people and circumstances that were surrounded, and just look at it from high above the stream of time. And you can do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can do that. Most people are doing that. If they're listening to my voice right now, they're listening to, they're above some incident in their life. And now I would like you, since it's so easy to move along the stream of time, now go back to 1 hour before that incident took place. Just float on back to to a place of safety, an hour before that incident took place. And now look at that incident from before it ever happened. And notice how it's changed. Notice how that incident looks different now. And notice how you have some choice about that incident, even though it all apparently happened in the past. That you can move back to before that incident happened, that thing you're calling a mistake ever took place, and you can learn something from before it happened. And then just notice, how did you think? What were you feeling? What did you see? What did you hear? What did you say to yourself right before this incident, which happened in the past, right before it happened? Now move back over and hover again over this incident in the stream of time and allow yourself to just drop right down into that moment. Just go right down into that moment where that incident is taking place and just experience it and notice it that it has less significance now. And notice that as you go back down into that moment in the stream of time where this incident took place, notice that you can actually play it like a movie and make it run fast forward, and then you can reverse it, or you could stop the action, or you could make it be in color or black and white, or you could rise way back up and look down and it'll be real tiny again, or you can get right down into it. Notice that you have a certain amount of freedom inside this moment now that you've moved through your inner reality and the stream of time to witness this past incident. Yeah. Now go ahead and rise up above the stream of time again, and looking down upon that incident, allow yourself to gather the learning. There's something that you learned, and it may not be conscious, you may not have words for it, but just allow yourself to gather the interior learnings, the inner learnings from having had that experience now in the present by going back into the future, into the past. And just rising above the stream of time, looking down upon that, just gather the learnings. They may have a certain color or sound, or they may have a feeling with them. And then while you're there, hovering above this moment that happened so long ago in the past, allow yourself to spread those colors and sounds of this learning that you just got, all of the learnings, all out into the future now. Just let those learnings go out into the future and notice how your future begins to change because of the learning you just did. And now turn towards the past and go all the way back towards the beginning of time and notice that stream of time is also changing. And then you can come back to this moment. Just come all the way back to this moment and come back down into your own body at this time, in this place, wherever you are in the world right now, and notice that your life has begun to change already interiorly from having had this moment, this experience, which took, 3 minutes. That was a very simple, light version of timeline therapy. Now, when I do private sessions with people, I do something called a complete breakthrough session, which is about 10 to 12 hours of various types of hypnotherapy and neuro-linguistic programming, which completely resolve every issue in the past, all of the things that have ever stopped you, held you back, limiting beliefs and patterns that people have developed throughout their lifetime that give them a limited view of their life. And you get complete and total freedom from that. And once you're completely free of that, then your whole future is definitely changed. So how can you overcome the mistakes of the past? What would be your words for that now?
You're asking me a hard question.
Yeah, it is a hard question, isn't it?
It sure is.
But it's a very easy question also.
I think that with practice, I would get over the mistakes that I made in my life and free myself from the past as well as from the future.
Well, what if getting over it only means something like what we just did? Literally getting over it by seeing what there was to learn from it.
Exactly.
See, I know from my own experience and from working with thousands of people that when you get the lesson of any incident or event that has taken place in your life that may have been painful or hurtful in some way, if you get the lesson, then it wasn't a mistake. It doesn't live for you like a mistake anymore. It lives for you like a lesson learned. We've all done things that we wish we didn't do, but if we got the lesson from them, then you look back and you go, wow, I'm glad that happened. I can tell you that there's nothing in my life, and I've done a lot of things that I previously regretted, but there's nothing in my life that I would change. When I look back over it, I see that it was all perfect. And the only reason I can say that is that I have learned from them. The only things I regret are the things that happened that were painful, and I didn't learn anything from it.
The problem with the mistakes that I made is that other people have been hurt.
Well, that's their lesson to learn. They got to learn something from that.
Because of me, they've been hurt. Okay.
Well, they have lessons to learn. You can't keep people from learning their lessons. Sometimes, this is my Oklahoma sense of humor, sometimes you're the windshield and sometimes you're the bug. Okay? Sometimes you're learning the lesson and sometimes you're giving the lesson. Sometimes, even if you're doing the best you could possibly do, you end up hurting someone. You didn't mean to hurt them. You didn't go, hey, I'm going to get up this morning, I'm going to get dressed and get all ready, and I'm going to go out and hurt somebody. No. You were probably doing the best you could do on that day with the learnings that you had previously gathered.
Right.
So when you look back in your past along the time of along the stream of time, you see that there's not any mistakes. There are no mistakes. There's just cause and effect. And you have an opportunity to learn from all of it. And that's what Embrace Growth is about. That's why I chose that name for our company. It's a signal. It's actually an embedded command to your life. When you hear the words Embrace Growth, there's some part of your subconscious mind that goes, And it's about literally embracing the things that are challenges in your life and bringing them into yourself instead of pushing them away. Everybody in life is doing this. I don't want to feel pain. I don't want to feel discomfort. I don't want to be sorry. I don't want to be trapped by the past. I don't want to make any mistakes. And how about if you just gathered all of that into you and said, and just lived your life and go, okay, I'm going to make mistakes and I'm going to learn from them. I'm going to get hurt sometimes and I'll heal. And eventually you become a healer. You begin to learn how to heal other people.
Just like you did.
Well, hopefully that's what I'm working on.
You're very much succeeding.
Yeah. Well, It's maybe I got hurt a lot, you know? So I would be grateful for the mistakes that you made and just go get the lesson.
Okay.
And if you need some help with that, I'm always here. I'm happy to help people with that.
I appreciate it.
I always appreciate your calls. I recognize your voice. And so thank you for watching my show and for your calls.
Thank you so very much.
All right.
Your, great lesson you taught me tonight.
Thank you. Good day.
Good day.
Hello, this is Gregory and your Life on the Air.
Hi, Gregory. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you very well. Thank you for holding. I saw that you were online for a while.
I just wanted to, talk about my latest failure in my relationship.
Okay.
And I'm noticing there's some self-discovery and growth,
Mm-hmm.
you put it, a pattern. So it seemed. Pattern as to why I was attracting similar type of personalities.
Okay. What else can you tell me about that?
Becoming real good friends with Google.
Oh, really?
Yes, I discovered the root cause of it was narcissism.
Mm-hmm. Say some more about that. I'm very interested.
Yes, and this is why I'm calling, because I think a lot of us are in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
What we have been through in our childhood,
Mm-hmm.
people that have raised us, our family members, especially in our culture,
Mm-hmm.
it's very vague. It's a kind of a fog we live in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can happen throughout our family members, and then goes into that subconscious, familiar pattern
Yes.
we look into for our partners, because we're like attracting that type of behavior and through it through our childhood. Not that we are narcissists, but been raised by.
Well, this is interesting, and the reason I say I'm very interested to hear what you have to say about narcissism is because it is the source of most of the conflicts, if not all of them, that I'm seeing in today's relationships.
Exactly.
I'm not talking about relationships from the past. All relationships have always had challenges, and then people later call that, well, we had a problem, but I call it a challenge. And on a more evolved point of view, a challenge is actually an opportunity to grow. So and to get bigger than whatever's challenging you, right? So you can get defeated by a challenge, but if you get back up and keep coming, then that you're not defeated and you have grown. You get stronger from your challenges. You may not always like the outcome, right? At the end of the day, they may give the prize to whatever challenged you, but you will have become stronger by embracing it and getting back in the ring with it, so to speak. So
yeah, but I guess what I wanted to make sure is that the subject gets talked about.
Yes.
Because I found myself having learned this way too late. Having too many relationships that were with narcissists, people who couldn't be intimately engaged with another human being. They can only engage on a very shallow level.
Yep.
They are very enticing, exciting, bring you in, and then they let you go. So you're sort of standing there by yourself thinking what just happened. So, and then it keeps repeating itself, but you don't even realize this is happening because of your past and this familiarity with attracting this. And why am I being attracted to this? Because I'm a codependent of that type of behavior, sort of being fed by the narcissist.
Yeah.
To me, that is what I want, kind of seeking, not knowing I'm seeking. So I just wanted to sort of enlighten women, because what they say is mostly 75%. I'm not saying they're all. I've also got women narcissists around me. No arguments there. But sort of kind of avoid the divorces, if I may say so.
Yeah, and I want to further
decisions, right? Knowing the patterns that.
Yeah, I want to further distinguish what I hear when I hear narcissist. And because I don't, it's easy to paste a label on something and then you go, oh, now I know what that is. But I guarantee you that if 20 people called in right now and I ask each and every one of them, what does narcissist mean? What does that word mean? What do you hear when I say that? you will get 20 different answers, and they'll be widely disparate. So I want to distinguish what I hear and what when I hear the word narcissist with regards to masculine and feminine relationships. You can call it. We're filtering out everything that has to do with business and religion and all that. I'm not talking about a psychological situation any more than
a romantic relationship.
In the realm of romantic relationships. What I mean when I say narcissist is, and I first have to distinguish something. A man, when he feels respected and his thinking is respected, he feels loved. It's important to know that. If you're a woman, if you're a man, what you really want, if you're a man, is you want to feel respected. And if you feel respected, it feels like love to you. So when men love each other, they actually give each other respect. That's it. And I'm talking about heterosexual men who love each other. They're talking about really honoring each other, respecting each other. That's when a man feels like, okay, good. So they don't say I love you, they say I respect you. Women feel loved when they feel taken care of, more importantly, when they have their feelings taken care of. So when a woman says, I feel sad, I feel hurt, I feel lonely, I feel whatever a woman feels.
Being cherished.
Yeah, being cherished. Thank you. That's where we're coming. Thank you for bringing my original subject back, which is being cherished.
Having integrity, the two together, yeah.
Yeah, loving her and saying, even though maybe as a man I don't feel those feelings right now, she's feeling them, and that's what's important. So I put my feelings aside and take care of her feelings. That's how she can feel loved. When she feels loved, there's something that happens with women. They go, you hear this sort of sigh of relief, like, okay, even though I feel horrible, somebody's here, they care, they're taking care of me, she feels loved. So that being distinguished, now let's talk about narcissism. A narcissist is somebody, male and female, who is ambisexual, meaning they are of both sexes, because you and I are. I have a female in me and you have male in you, right? We are ambisexual, but we are narcissistic in that I say we, I'm including myself. We all want to have our feelings cherished and our thinking respected. Yes?
Right.
We want to be cherished and respected. Well, in relationships, you're free to go around doing that. Just get used to being single. That's all. It doesn't work in a masculine-feminine romantic relationship. It doesn't work. You got to choose. Do you want to be the respected one or the cherished one? Because the respected one puts his feelings aside to cherish the others. The feeling one shows respect whether she feels it or not. She pays respect. She gives respect. So that he, the masculine one, and whether I don't care if it's a woman, in other words, a feminine biological unit, or a man, there are masculine women and feminine men. There's many relationships in which the man is the feminine one. He wants to have his feelings taken care of, and the woman is the masculine one. She's the one, she's running the business, and she's taking care of everything, and she deserves respect, and she demands respect. However, she may not get her feelings taken care of. So in a masculine-feminine relationship where the woman is the feminine one and the man is the masculine one, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not being sexist. I'm just being specific.
The role, yeah.
Yeah, the role that's being played by the masculine person happens to be a male and a female. And in that kind of a situation, just to simplify the language, the man would put his feelings aside. In other words, he's not honoring or cherishing his feelings, is he? He may be angry, he may be sad, he may be frustrated, he may be disappointed, he may be pissed off, he may be needing a drink. But he's not going to do any of that. He's going to put that aside and say, what can I do for you, honey, to help you feel better? I'm going to stay up all night long. I'm going to get out in the middle of the night and go get you something to eat or drink or do whatever it takes to help you to feel better. What do you need from me? I'll do it. He puts all of his feelings aside. He sacrifices his feelings for hers. He makes her feelings more important. That's what I mean when I'm talking about cherishing. And most men are completely incapable of that, or even if they're capable of it, they just don't want to do it. They just don't feel like it. Feelings, they're feelings, right? They don't feel like it. And most women don't want to pay a man respect because she thinks, well, I'm smarter than him. I can do the accounting faster than him. I could run this business better than him, or whatever. So she doesn't want to respect the man's thinking, leadership, guidance, which is basically, that's what he's got to offer. That's what he's got to offer. I will, I'll put my feelings aside and do whatever it takes, because love for men comes accompanied by the words, duty, responsibility, accountability. A man feels accountable. A man feels a sense of duty for the people he loves. I'm not saying that women don't. I'm just saying that's pretty much what he's got to offer. I'll be accountable. I'll take care of you. I'll provide. I'll protect. I'll cherish you.
Understand this?
Yeah, and that deserves respect, doesn't it?
Right. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
But this is where I have my, I guess.
Well, so just to finish that thought, when I hear narcissist, just let me finish this thought. When I hear narcissist, I mean somebody who wants both and demands both. A narcissist is somebody who wants to be cherished and respected and expects that from you. And if you expect that from others, yeah, you're a narcissist. Get used to being single. If you want to be in a relationship with a masculine man, he's going to need to feel respected. And he may or may not cherish you. Depends on whether you pick a guy that knows how to do that. But that's what a masculine man will require respect. And a masculine man will have the responsibility and the ability to put his feelings aside and take care of yours.
But from what I'm reading, and if I don't want to interrupt your...
Yeah. Well, what you're reading is, unless you're reading it from me, it's of interest to me.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, because they keep talking about narcissists and their...
Pardon me?
The narcissist supply, which is the attention they get. They get the main source of supply, secondary source, and...
Yeah. What are you talking about?
Being the wife, the girlfriend, and then others being... Well,
yes, a narcissist somebody who demands to be both respected and cherished, think about it. That means that they're 100%, right? They're everything. I'm respected and cherished. It's all coming to me, right? That means you're zero. In those relationships, there's always one who's 100 and one who's 0. It's not like 60-40 either. It's not 30-70 or any of that. It's 100 and 0. Because when it comes right down to it, one of them is made themselves be more important than the other, and the other one agreed.
Yes, exactly. And if you don't agree, you walk away, and they walk away.
Yeah. If you don't agree that if I'm the narcissist and you don't agree that I'm the most important person here, because when I tell you my feelings, you come back at me and try to tell me that your feelings are equal to mine. My feelings are more important than your feelings. That's what they're really saying, isn't it?
Right.
And then when I tell you my thinking, and you come back and say, well, I think something else, and you argue with me, I'm like, oh, really? My thinking's the more important thinking here. I'm the 100, you're the 0, right? That's what a narcissist does.
I guess the challenge is to avoid them.
Well, yes.
Trying to find and pinpoint characteristics.
Well, yeah, that would be the easy part of the challenge. That really is easy. That's easy, right? Once you have these distinctions, you see somebody that within seconds you realize that that's what they're up to. I can anyhow. Within a very short conversation with them, they're those people that when you tell a story, like a really interesting story, they've always got a better one. They're the ones that while you're talking, they talk on top of you. They start talking while you're talking so that you shut up and they talk. They're the ones who, when you tell them something that you feel, they tell you what they feel. But what they feel has got to be better or more important than what you felt. Or if you tell them what you think, they tell you something that they think that's more intelligent. They always have to be the one on top. And so it's very easy to see them.
The biggest challenge was the way they leave the relationship. You know?
Probably pretty abruptly.
Without any,
Yeah.
sort of unfinished, and it feels very...
Yeah. They leave people incomplete, but the only person that could be left incomplete by them would be somebody who had a codependent relationship with them in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, you're able to move on. I'm just saying at the same time, it's really...
Yeah, it leaves something in the space that's ugly and sad and hurts. Yeah.
It's one of those things that I've...
So, yeah, you say, well, the thing is about avoiding, well, first distinguish them so that you can see them coming a mile away, and then it's easy to avoid something that's a mile away, It's right when they're right up close to you and they're in your bedroom, that's when it's hard to avoid.
You don't want to go there. I'm talking about...
Yeah, they're in your kitchen or your car with you or something, then it's getting a little close,
Right.
You want to be able to see them before they get into your life, and
all that good stuff.
But more importantly, all of that's about them, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
This show and Embrace Growth and everything is like, what about you? In other words, how could you begin to, if 9 out of 10 people that you know are like that, then, and you can't have a relationship with anyone because everybody's a egotistical narcissist, self-centered, then it's a lonely world. What if you were the kind of person who was what I've been talking about all along, an actual agent of change and transformation for other people, because you brought honor and integrity and cherishing to every situation at all times, so that when you saw somebody being an arrogant, egotistical, self-centered narcissist, you could say, isn't that sweet? Isn't that, how could I make a difference with that person without hurting myself, without compromising my own integrity? How could I actually contribute something to them that would maybe make a difference for them with no attachment on my part? Just, I'm not going to get attached. I'm just going to make a difference if I can. And if I can't, well, I will have planted a seed that will grow some years later.
It's hard sometimes when you've been hurt, so.
Yeah, I know. But there's some things that you need to complete from the past. I don't know if you've ever seen my wife's book called Unfinished Business, but it's a very good one for giving guidelines for completing your unfinished business.
Right.
There's some exercises and stuff like that in there. And then I don't know if you've ever been to any of our workshops, but if you have, man, it really gets complete in there. All of that stuff gets complete inside the women-only workshops and the men's workshops that we do.
Okay.
Thanks for calling. Yeah.
Thanks, Gregory.
Bye-bye. Okay, that's it. I got to wrap it up. I'll be back here again next week on Love Talk. And check out embracegrowth.com for our books, CDs, DVDs, and seminars and workshops on honor, integrity, and mastery and transformation, okay? I'll talk to you next week.